And it said, watch this news report from 2018 as Somalians take suitcases of cash, millions of USD, out of our airports. It's welfare fraud, it's daycare fraud. And the oil field guy said everyone knew. Since 2018, people knew about this and nothing had been done.
It's the morning of March 15th. We're chasing a tip about a man who's leaving the country. Our sources tell us he just took a carry-on bag through security that was packed with $1 million cash. You can do that as long as you fill out one of these government forms. We're told these cloak and dagger-like scenarios now happen almost weekly at MSP International. The money is usually headed to the Middle East, Dubai, and points beyond. Our sources say last year alone, more than $100 million cash left MSP in carry-on luggage.
How do we have this fucking Fox 9 report from 7 years ago? And it's taken until this year for enough people to get angry about it. And then even after it took over 7 years for enough people to get angry about it, you still have fucking self-hating, ridiculous, retarded white people trying to defend the criminals. What the fuck is happening?
What we were interested in is where it was going.
The national go-to expert on what's behind these mysterious money transfers is Glenn Kearns. He's a former Seattle police detective who spent 15 years on the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force until his retirement.
It's an outright crime. It's unbelievable.
Kearns tracked millions of dollars in cash that was leaving on flights from Seattle. It was coming from hawalas, businesses used to courier money to countries that have no official banking system. Some immigrant communities rely on hawalas to send funds to help impoverished relatives back home. Kearns discovered some of the money was being funneled to a hawala in a region of Somalia that's controlled by the Al-Shabaab terrorist group. How could...
Literally mentioning the Al-Shabaab money funding in 2018! And there are people in current year when we talk about this who'll be like, no, that's ridiculous. If that was actually happening, we would have known about it long before. Well, apparently we knew about it long before.
They possibly come up with such big bucks to transfer back home.
We had sources that told us it's all about it's welfare fraud. It's all about the daycare.
To better understand the connection between daycare fraud and the surge in carry-on cash, you have to look at the history of this crime.
5 years ago, the Fox 9 investigators were first to report that daycare fraud was on the rise here in Minnesota.
How did it take 7 years to even start prosecuting any of these people? And even after we started prosecuting some of these people for the fraud, activist judges started letting them off. And then Nick Shirley made his video, and so many more people knew about this. But like, how did it take so fucking long? How did it take so fucking long?
We exposed how some businesses were gaming the system to steal millions in government subsidies meant to...
People don't watch the news. I just want to grill, but I also refuse to defend my desire to grill people. Once again, making shit worse for all of us. I really have come to hate that mentality. It's just like, I just want to grill, so I'll expect everyone else to pay attention and fight for me. I don't want to do shit. If I speak, I will glow.
To help low-income families with their child care expenses.
This is a great way to make some money. I think it's kind of that informal word of mouth.
In order for the scheme to work, the daycare centers need to sign up low-income families that qualify for child care assistance funding. These surveillance videos are from a case prosecuted by Hennepin County. They show parents checking their kids into a center only to leave with them a few minutes later. Sometimes no children would show up. But either way, the center would bill the state for a full day of child care.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, man. Grill bros are deserving of hatred 1,000% You just want to grill, but you gotta make the guy turning off the gas leave. Pretty much. The guy turning off the gas, the guy trying to put a dent in your grill, the guy trying to replace your meat with bugs, dude. My sister in Christ, they're funding their voter bases. They read the replacement and saw an opportunity for votes, you know? That's why the Minnesota government staff and representatives need to see prison time to show that we're not fucking around with this. Yeah, I don't want to just see Somalians deported. I want to see everyone in every level of government that had any inkling that this was going on face repercussions for it. I know this Paul guy I've brought up a few times before said, we as a country had this discussion 15 years ago. Everyone knew this was going on. Take note of what they're saying and how it's the same thing the GOP is saying now. After they shut down the wire services, they started flying cash out of MSP International. TSA first noticed this in 2014 to the tune of $14 million. By 2016, it was $100 million. By 2026, $700 million. Everyone in Minnesota and most people in DC knew this was happening, and there's proof of it. Fox was running these stories in 2015 on TV. This is an article published December 29th, 2011. Minnesota money transfer shops stopped taking Somali cash. Money transfer businesses that cater to Somali immigrants in Minnesota stopped accepting money bound for the famine-stricken East African country Thursday, a day before a key bank was due to stop processing the transactions. Hinda Ali, a spokeswoman for the Somali American Money Services Association in Minneapolis, said 15 money transfer businesses stopped taking the money because they would no longer be able to execute transactions through Sunrise Community Banks. Minnesota represents the nation's largest Somali population. They don't have a bank account as of tomorrow, she said of the businesses, which are sometimes known as hawalas. Now, if in 2011, Minnesota represented the nation's largest Somali population, and they were all committing fraud back then, how many of the Somalis that have immigrated to Minnesota, whether legally or fraudulently, since 2011 do you think have come there specifically to be able to commit fraud? If they already know through their community that Minnesota is easy to take advantage of and steal money from, how many legitimate Somali immigrants do you think have gone to Minnesota between 2011 and now? Come the fuck on. Literally none of them. Let's be honest with ourselves. The pirates saw easy marks and they came to do pirate things. Timeline of key reports and events. Around 2015, investigators first documented a notable amount of cash and carry-on luggage, approximately $14 million. 2016, the amount of documented cash mushroomed to $84 million. In 2018, Fox 9 and other news organizations published in-depth investigative reports connecting the cash flights to a broader pattern of potential fraud and the use of hawala money to transfer systems. These news reports drew significant attention to the issue, including from lawmakers. Well, clearly, it was not enough attention. In late 2025, early 26, more recent high-profile news stories, citing Homeland Security officials and TSA data, reported on nearly $700 million in flagged cash leaving MSP over the prior 2 years, 2024 and 2025, reigniting national attention on the ongoing investigation into massive pandemic aid fraud schemes. I don't know if the Insurrection Act is enough. I am so tired, and there's not much I can say without glowing out of my fucking mind. I saw this, and I have no idea what this is in response to. Like, this came across my timeline, and I was like, why is Ryanair beefing with Elon Musk? What's fucking going on? They said, Ryanair CEO to address/undress Elon Musk Twitter tantrum at Dublin press conference. And I'm just like, why are they stripping Elon Musk? What is happening? What is, I was like, are they mad about like Grok undressing women? Cause like, that was kind of weird. That was kind of weird. I'm glad Elon said that they would actually do something about people posting illegal content. But like, why are we undressing Elon Musk now? Ryanair CEO Michael O'Leary has called a press conference at 10 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday, the 21st of January, in Dublin to undress, Elon Musk's latest Twitch shit? Bro, bro, what is happening? Musk knows even less about airline ownership rules than he does about aircraft aerodynamics, said MOL. Mr. Michael O'Leary, what did you mean by this? Isn't Elon also known as the Rocket Man? Like, what? Perhaps Musk needs a break. Ryanair is launching a great idiot seat sale, especially for Elon and any other idiots on X. 100,000 seats for just $16.99 one way. Buy now before Musk gets one. Wait, hold on a minute. 100,000 seats for just $16.99. Can my tax dollars go towards this? Can we use this to help the deportations with ICE? That sounds like a great deal. Can Elon Musk buy more than 100,000? Ryanair, you might have just become my greatest ally, actually. Elon tweeted the latest day the thought of buying Ryanair. Don't know if he was just memeing or not. The man is unpredictable. That's why you respect him. I was like, I don't know. I was like, this is like the weirdest thing I've had come across my timeline. Like, I had no idea why they were angry. I had no idea why they want to undress Elon Musk. Please do not put the Musk penis on my timeline, Ryanair. This says, breaking, Vice President J.D. Vance just announced that he and Second Lady Usha are now expecting their 4th child. Congratulations! Please and thank you, President. Watch out, Elon. I see a contest coming up. Oh my god. And we now have pictures of the extent of damage to the crown. It used to look like this, and now it looks like this. And I just feel like this is like an oak door moment, right? These people, they do not care about you. They do not care about your history. They are there to loot and enrich themselves. And if this doesn't point you towards the fact that we are in some kind of a Cold War, I don't know what will. Symbolic? Yeah, it definitely feels like it. Very, very unfortunate to see. I don't even know how this could possibly be repaired. Garugamesh, thank you. Must be the cultural enrichment you've heard about. True. Probably damage it like that to try and pry the jewels off of it. Can we go take more of the people's artifacts from them? They don't deserve them. Yeah. I kind of have brought this up before. I don't remember if it was an article or if I was just like tangenting about it while talking about a movie I watched recently, but I thought this was very interesting because I haven't watched the video, but this person quote retweeted it and said, had roommates that had never seen Die Hard, so I decided to watch it with them. The entire movie, they're doing chores and on their phones. At the end of the movie, one of them said, I didn't like it. I asked him, why did the bad guys hold the building hostage? Implying that obviously the people doing stuff during the movie did not watch it at all. And I remember talking to you guys before about how movies are made to not be watched anymore, which is why we no longer have like subtlety. We no longer have show don't tell. We have people in the movies explaining the plot 4, 5, 6 times, and we have all of these like really blunt and awkward feeling dialogues because movies are being made for people who are distracted instead of made to actually be watched, right? And I think when I was discussing this, there was like some guy making the point that they don't bother making use of the good backgrounds or like nice landscapes and stuff anymore because they don't expect people to be watching. So they could be like in some sort of impressive like European 15th century castle, but they're not going to make good use of that backdrop because they're not expecting people to be watching. So movies are now made for people listening rather than watching them, and that explains part of the massive decline in quality. And Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were on Joe Rogan talking about how Netflix has changed filmmaking. They say you reiterate the plot 3 to 4 times in the dialogue because people are on their phones. And I was like, damn, this is really interesting, as this is something that I've talked about before.
I think, you know, you're watching in a room, the lights are on, other shit's going on, the kids are running around, the dogs are running around, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's just a very different level of attention that you're willing to, or that you're able to give to it. And that has a big effect. And it also ends up having an effect, or is starting to have an effect on how you make movies. Like, for instance, Netflix, you know, a standard way to make an action movie that we learned was, you know, you usually have like 3 set pieces, one in the first act, one in the second, and one in the third. And, you know, they kind of ramp up, and the big one with all the explosions, and you spend most of your money on that one in the third act. That's your kind of finale. And now they're like, can we get a big one in the first 5 minutes to get somebody, you know, we want people to stay tuned in, and you know, it wouldn't be terrible if you reiterated the plot 3 or 4 times in the dialogue because people are on their phones while they're watching, you know what I mean?
I never thought of having to, like, I guess, reorient some sort of giant spectacle in the beginning of a movie in order to get someone's attention long enough to get them to watch the full thing. I haven't thought about that at all. Who the fuck is on their phone during a movie? Apparently a lot of fucking people. Is that why we can guess the plot for an entire movie in the first 10 minutes? I guess so. I mean, here I am thinking I'm incredibly smart when I guess the entire plot in the first 5 minutes. But I guess I'm not smart. I'm actually of average intelligence, and they just give you all of the plot points at the beginning so that you can guess everything. I guess that's on purpose. That makes me feel kind of sad.
And so then it's going to really start to infringe on
creatively.
how we're telling the
but
story.
then you look at Adolescence, it didn't do any of that.
It didn't do
shit.
any of that.
And it's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's dark too. It's tragic and intense. It's like guy who finds out this kid's accused of murder, and it's like, you know, and there's long shots in the back of their head. They get in the car, nobody says anything. I think there are those. Look, these
I wish that
ideas,
were
like,
that
you do
feels
this
more
trick,
like the
do that trick,
exception.
you know?
It's so masterfully made that it feels a little more like the exception. I hope it's not.
My feeling is just that it demonstrates that you don't need to do any of that shit to get people. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, you know, yes, you know, like, look, hey, the town had the action thing in the beginning of the first 5 minutes because you know what I mean? Like, it's a common trick that you would go like, let me grab them and get them invested in them. It's like the movies that start with the hero hanging from the cliff, and now we're gonna flash back to the beginning and tell you how they got there.
Oh, I am tired of that trope, actually. I wouldn't mind it if, like, another movie like Memento came out with, like, the disorienting, like, time skips back and forth, because they actually had a point, and they were very well put together. But I feel like whenever I watch anything with a time skip in current year, they don't even use it as, like, a good literary device like Memento did. It just feels like, wait a minute, I don't know when this is happening. I'm not really sure what's going on anymore. I can't tell when we are. In media res is what that's called. What? You hate the flashback stuff? You know the hero is going to survive, so nothing has tension anymore? Not even necessarily that, because, like, there could be tension stuff even if you know someone's going to survive, right? Because you don't know how they got there. Or maybe it's like a fake-out flashback kind of thing, and it's like, oh, it was actually a dream. Like, sometimes it can be okay, but I feel like it's very overused, you know?
You know, I always feel like you know, complaining about it makes me feel like one of these guys who was like, when I was a boy, like, you always want to freeze the culture at the time when you, I don't know, felt more like, you know, we didn't used to have these phones. The fuck are all these phones? And everybody's looking at their phone. I get it. Yes, it's true. Also, it's like supply and demand. People want to look at their phone. They can look at TikTok. They want, you know, they're going to do that. I think what you can do is make shit the best you can. Make it really good. And, you know, people can still go to the movies. It's not like, I think we have this idea that's like an existential threat. Everything that comes along is going to destroy everything. Instead of like, what history suggests is that there's like marginal encroachments, things shift. Yep, as television came along, there was less theater going, and that's still going to happen. And people are still going to go to the movies because of what you said. Like, it feels like a cool thing to do. I'm going to go see The Odyssey. I guarantee you.
I don't think going to the movies is a cool thing to do. Like, in my opinion, why would I leave the comfort of my house and put on pants and spend 20 times the amount of money on food that I could buy cheaper at a grocery store just to go see a movie in a theater with sticky, uncomfortable seats and other people that I don't know around me, when I could just stay in my house, not wear pants, get food from my kitchen that I've already paid for, and curl up in a blanket burrito with, like, either friends or no one else around, right? Like, why would I do that?
In a theater, you know, no matter what. Fewer of them. You could argue that's because I have more choice or whatever it is. It's hard to fight supply and demand. That's the trick, right? If people want to watch a bunch of stuff at home because they invested in TVs and cost us money, they will. So, okay. But the upside of that is, like, I can try to do something, hopefully that's like, that actually doesn't need to, you know, have the most urgency to get you to come to the theater with your family. That's a little more experimental or risk-taking or whatever in that way.
Well, you got to adapt. I mean, there's no way you're going to change people's viewing habits now.
No.
I mean, what percentage of Netflix is actually watched on phones?
What percentage of Netflix is actually watchable, even? Because it feels like the majority of shows that are actually good and people would like a second season of, they always get canceled. I loved, it was like Archive 81, I think it was called. Archive 81 was a pretty fucking great show. I was really excited for season 2. You know what happened? They canceled it. There was some weird ghost ship time travel story that was also pretty good. And I was like, I can't wait for season 2. You know what happened? They canceled it. So it's kind of like, what? I just don't see, like, why, I guess, you know? I'm confused. You would hope it's 10% or less watched on phone. I think a lot of people use their phone for watching stuff. I don't know how or why. I hate watching stuff on my phone. It's too small. I have to hold it. It's very obnoxious. I just don't like it. Why even get invested anymore? And I think that might be an interesting thing to bring up, right? Because, like, we already have some wedges in our society where why bother getting invested in a dating partner? Why bother putting an effort into a relationship when you can go on your phone and have a smorgasbord of anyone willing to smash uglies in like a, 20-mile radius? Why put in effort and why get attached when you can just kind of not have to care about anyone besides yourself and you can still get fucked? If they've already, like, reduced the amount of effort and care people are willing to put into relationships, that's one issue removed where people are looking inward and only caring about themselves. Why bother getting invested into any kind of TV show or movie? Why bother getting attached to the plot? Nothing is going to become a cult classic as we once known them, because there isn't anything that's going to engage people to keep them wanting to stick to a certain IP anymore. It's all just interchangeable and it's all just kind of sloppy. So if we look at like different ways people are encouraged to just kind of stop caring and disengage, I'm wondering if this is like a more so on purpose kind of thing, where if you can convince people to only care about themselves particularly, and any other cares are more performative than something they actually care about. I wonder if that makes it a sort of just like easily pliable person, because there's not much. Let me let the movie people finish
Gotta
talking.
be pretty high, which is insane.
Yeah.
Even watching on a laptop for me is kind of sucks. You know?
It sucks. Yeah,
That's a joke that I like to make with every director I work with. Like when they're really puzzling over a shot or really grinding out something, I go, it's not going to look as good on the phone. When just everyone gets angry.
It takes the wind out of their fucking sails. No, that's going to look great this fucking big. But keep fucking around and lighting that. We'll also,
It is weird, though, the concern for the algorithm, like making sure that people watch. Like, look, we've got data that shows within the first 5 minutes when this happens, they tune out. So it's not like my buddy Tony Hinchcliffe, he's got Kill Tony, and now it's on Netflix, and so they're giving him notes now, and they can give him, like, but they're not telling him what to do, but they're saying, like, this is when people are tuning out. And so let's, just so you have that data, now decide how you want to edit things. It's like,
slippery
slope.
It moved towards more IP,
because it was hard to get people to come to the movies. Everyone got scared and thought, well, it has to be a sequel or a superhero movie.
And so an interesting little movie, kind of in the 90s when we kind of came onto the scene, there were a lot of really good independent movies that were being made. There was, it was a really great time to be making movies. People were making daring movies, and then everyone just got way more conservative because it's huge. Like the business is so different theatrically and streaming, because to put out a movie theatrically, you have to put so much more money behind it. True. To publicize. Like you're trying to get everybody
spending about what the budget was to make it to advertise it.
Because
you got 50% of the theatrical.
Yeah, because you split it with the movie house, right? The exhibitor.
So $25 million movie to break even, you got to make $100 million.
And you got to get everybody to not only.
This might sound really stupid, but they talk about how much money you need to make these movies and how much cheaper it is to like just make, like the Netflix movie instead of the theatrical release. Wouldn't it be cheaper to make the movies if the celebrities were paid less money to do them? Maybe we've reached a point where celebrities in film reached a peak amount of money that people were willing to pay for them, and now there's a downturn. So where you might have made like $30 million for a role in one movie previously, now you'll only make $15 million. Maybe that's a way to reduce some of the budgets, maybe. And I feel like that's probably why a lot of movies are also putting in people that can't act very well. Because they're just like, well, this person is astronomically cheaper, so who cares?
Know about the movie, but to show up like that Friday night, like that specific time, for that specific movie, and to cut through all the noise that people are contending with, and
so it just becomes about risk, and nobody wants to take the risk, so they don't want to make something new because it's such an investment, and we're going to lose our fucking money. And the streamers have stepped into that, and like, no, you didn't have to necessarily have a star. You could try something more interesting, or it didn't have to be a superhero movie, whatever it was. And also, I think it's like, frankly, like people my age, like. It's first of all, it's expensive, right? You take your whole family, it's $100. You're on a streaming service, $20 a month. You can watch all you want, so you can't be cavalier about like. you're just going to price it however the fuck you want and expect everyone to like be indifferent to that. And then
I think it's also perfectly fine to stop thinking about specific theatrical releases and make stuff for streaming. But I don't like the downturn in quality of, like, they expect everyone to be on their phone. So again, there's no show don't tell, everything is spoken, everything is blunt, the dialogue is very weird because they're explaining everything that's happening to the audience that's not watching engaged. And I don't like that. I like being able to watch the movie at home rather than listening to weirdly stiff dialogue and really bad landscapes and background scenes because they're making the movie for people not paying attention.
You know, also, you know, the idea
I think it's okay to stop thinking, Kirsche. I literally said the opposite of that, though.
of, like, for me, you know, there's a lot of stuff, I make that decision. Like, do I want to see The Odyssey on a big screen? Fucking I went to a theater to just watch the trailer for that movie. And, you know, at one battle after another, I wanted to go see in the theater. But there's movies of people that I really like and respect where, yeah, and I got a good system and shit, but I'm like, look, I'll watch it and I might get tired, or I want to pause it and take a piss, or the kids, you know, whatever it is. That's conducive to my lifestyle, you know, and so
most people's
I even
lifestyle.
see few. I think most people are, yeah.
I think that's perfectly fine, and I think that's perfectly normal. But I don't think they should be made specifically for people not paying attention, and I think that's sad that we see a massive quality downturn because that is who is being marketed to in current year. Speaking of celebrities saying weird things, we have Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama, I would not have recognized this as Michelle Obama with that hairstyle, I'm going to be real with you. But she said something weird.
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. You know, I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes, you know. What does our closet look like and who's in it? Mm-hmm. Who are we supporting in it?
Right.
You know, and I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, then you have the money to buy everybody.
Right.
And so let us be mindful, I think would be my advice.
Yeah.
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like and I know.
That's kind of weird. Why do you need to think about who's in your closet? Unless I somehow bought clothes from someone who becomes a convicted pedophile, like, I don't know how much that matters, right? I don't know how much that matters. Who's in it? Barack! Michelle Obama says she's mindful to avoid white-owned brands, and others also should be. Well, I was like, you could be interpreted that way, because it's a very weird thing that she said. Very weird thing that she said. Like, I don't give a shit who made my clothes. Are they cute? Do I like them? That is what I care about. Governor Tim Walz, AG Keith Ellison, and Mayor Jacob Frey have been subpoenaed, according to Fox News. Just heard the FBI has apparently served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis.
And John, before we get to that, I want to get to the breaking news we have just heard. The FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Walz. We will bring you more information as we get it on those subpoenas. Meantime, the number of protesters out here at the federal building is diminishing every day, it seems, but the war of words between local officials and the Trump administration is only getting stronger. The latest flashpoint, as you mentioned, that protest at a St. Paul church on Sunday, during which several dozen protesters disrupted the service, screaming at members of the congregation and screaming anti-ICE slogans. In the meantime, the president himself is urging DHS to make a lot more of the number of criminals that are being arrested during Operation Metro Surge. The president saying on Truth Social, quote, "Show the numbers, names and faces of the violent criminals and show them now. The people will start supporting the patriots of ICE instead of the highly paid troublemakers, anarchists and agitators." Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said on X, quote, "Stop terrorizing people with your fake PR about criminals in Minneapolis, because the only people on the streets of Minneapolis you are arresting are law-abiding citizens."
I am so tired of people like Ilhan Omar just bold-faced lying, just saying things that are objectively not true, and there's like zero repercussions for them to continue lying in this manner. and inflaming people to do crazy shit with their lies.
And local law enforcement officials held a press conference a short time ago in which they accused what they said was a small group of federal agents of merely stopping people through racial profiling.
Tim Walz, Keith Ellison, and Jacob Frey all being subpoenaed. It's wonderful fucking white pilling news. Something may be happening. DOJ served subpoenas to Walz, Frey, and other Minnesota officials amid immigration crackdown. The Justice Department has sent subpoenas to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, and other state leaders, escalating its investigation into whether state officials conspired to impede law enforcement during the Trump administration's immigration operations, according to a document reviewed by NBC News and a person familiar with the investigation. The subpoenas were also sent to Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, the Office of St. Paul Mayor Cowley Herr, and 2 counties, according to the document and the person familiar with the probe. How is the mayor's name Cowley Herr? That's not a real name. That's not a real person.
That motherfucker back there is not real.
NBC News has reached out to their offices for comment. In a statement to NBC News, Frey sharply criticized the Trump administration and accused the Justice Department of misusing its power. Of course he did. When the federal government weaponizes its power to try and intimidate local leaders for doing their jobs, every American should be concerned. We shouldn't have to live in a country where people fear that federal law enforcement will be used to play politics or crack down on local voices they disagree with, Frey added. Well, it's a good thing that Americans aren't concerned. It's people who aren't Americans who should be concerned. And we don't really care about their concern because they're not American and therefore get the fuck out of the country. In Minneapolis, we won't be afraid. We know the difference between right and wrong, and as mayor, I'll continue doing the job I was elected to do, keeping our community safe and standing up for our values, the Democratic mayor added. Your values of importing tons of foreigners committing fraud? That kind of value? In a statement, Ellison said the subpoena was for records and documents, not for me personally. I don't think that makes it better, because it's your office still, my guy. Everything about this is highly irregular, especially the fact that this comes shortly after my office sued the Trump administration to challenge their illegal actions within Minnesota, the state attorney general said. Oh no, his retardation is terminal. Let's be clear about why this is happening. Donald Trump is coming after the people of Minnesota and I'm standing in his way. I will not be intimidated and I will not stop working to protect Minnesotans from Trump's campaign of retaliation and revenge. Well, it's a good thing that Minnesotans aren't being targeted. It's the foreigners who are here illegally and committing crime. The investigation comes after an ICE officer shot and killed Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen and mother of 3, during an immigration enforcement operation. The killing sparked protests and led to clashes between demonstrators and law enforcement in scenes that have drawn national attention. Yes, because she had been impeding ICE operations all day and then tried to run over an ICE officer, whom she actually made physical contact with her vehicle in an attempt to run him over. And then she got shot. It was a defensive shooting by the police officer. The federal statute invoked in the investigation into Minnesota officials has been rarely used and has roots in a Civil War era. But it was on a list of statutes in a memo from Attorney General Pam Bondi last month obtained by NBC News that offered a roadmap for federal prosecutors on how to charge political agitators with crime. I always find it interesting when they say like, oh, it's something that has barely been used since so-and-so time period. When it's like, well, maybe if some of these things had continuously been enforced, we wouldn't be in the quagmire we are in now. Maybe, potentially, who knows? Federal officials are also investigating Good's partner to determine whether she may have impeded a federal officer moments before Good was shot and killed. 2 people familiar with the investigation said. I mean, she did. It would be nice if we could see the repercussions. What's gonna happen to that $1.5 million GoFundMe? What's happened with that? Who's getting that money? Where did that money go? Walz has said previously the only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her, because it was in self-defense. You clown. He was referring to ICE officer Jonathan Ross, a war veteran who spent over a decade working for the Department of Homeland Security. You wonder why the law being used to stop Democrats from violating federal law to keep their slave class dates back to the Civil War. Rarely ever used, has only been used 40 times since it became a law 40 years ago. So once a year, at least. A musician tries to dive off the stage, but the audience nearly tears him apart trying to steal his jewelry. It's like a zombie movie. It's like a zombie movie. That guy just dived on him. That's crazy unsafe, man. They can't get him out of the crowd. Man, what kind of world do we live in where you can't even go crowd surfing anymore? You can't even go crowd surfing, man. What the hell? What the hell? Also, I've been seeing a couple of videos of this chick with Soran Mamdani. I want to remind people, we have covered Miss Rachel on stream before. Miss Rachel wanted to involve Dylan Mulvaney in her children's YouTube show. She also got signed by CAA, the Creative Artist, whatever the fuck, in California. I can never remember what their acronym stands for. But she got signed by CAA, and CAA is a heavily in the sauce DEI talent agency. So I get very suspicious of anyone that gets signed to CAA. And when I first covered her being signed initially, the first thing that I said was that her content would start devolving into pushing propaganda because she is a children's channel. And the best place to push propaganda is in children's messaging. Get them while they're young, by the way. So this was something that we've talked about in relation to Bridge a handful of times. And Soran Mamdani tweeting out a video of him with Miss Rachel saying, "The good news, we're winning universal childcare faster than anyone expected. The bad news, Miss Rachel and I have to find some new song inspiration." And I think it's really weird that Mamdani has been talking about pushing childcare in New York while we're currently trying to fix a ton of childcare fraud.
The mayor on the bus says, "Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends." The mayor on the bus says, "Hello, friends." All through the town, the money on the bus goes clink, clink, clink.
The buses are going to be free, though.
That's so wonderful, but this is like my song, and the kids like to do it. Clink, clink, clink. Okay. Actually, I have another one. Okay. Yeah, I have another one. The babies on the bus go where?
Aren't the babies happy about the childcare?
They're so happy. Actually, the parents are really happy. This is like my big hit. I need to
This is your show.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Leave the kids alone. What a couple of candy asses. You hate to use the term, but this is stupid levels of cringe. Yeah. That's beyond creepy. Who is this for? What do you mean, who is this for? Miss Rachel is a hit with the children. And doesn't Soran Mamdani's face just inspire you? Doesn't he just look like someone children would love to look at? His face is not horrifyingly twisted into a mask in any way, shape, or form. It's not creepy at all. We're gonna raise your taxes, but those buses are totally free. You don't think the buses are bad now? Just wait until you don't even have to pay to ride. I do not know how bad the state of public transport is in New York, except getting killed on the subway. You know, a few family members who would support this if they had younger kids. Jesus Christ. People forget this, but in the early 90s, Barney used to open every episode by chanting, "Mr. Gorbachev, put that wall back up!" That's funny. It says, this morning, Miss Rachel and I visited District 2 Pre-K Center, where we sang and read with the wonderful students and educators. We also discussed universal childcare and how we're making it happen for NYC. And so you have, I think this might be the same place from the video. Like, he just looks so creepy every time I see him. It's just like, I can't put into words, but like, you know how humans were equipped with like that uncanny valley feeling? Where like you recognize a predator just because of that weird feeling that you get? That's what I get when I look at him. It's spooky. And there's another one with them, with the kids, and then a kid hugging an orange puppet, I suppose. More pictures with kids. Israel is going to say this is anti-Semitic because the kids aren't injured. Why in the fuck is he bringing up Israel? What is this brain damage? So I guess they didn't just do that one take with both of them singing. They did one with the kids. And someone green screened it. His face is just so creepy. Like, hold up, chat. Look at this.
Baby on the bus says where, the baby on the bus says where, all through town.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I feel incredibly uncomfortable whenever I have to see Mamdani's face. So this person that posted the video said, this may be the trigger that sends the entire movement into complete collapse. And this other person said, my Alex Jones conspiracy theory is that these people are all paid to tank conservatism. 3 of them are Muslim grifters. At least 2 of them believe in child marriage. At least 2 of them are pretending to be straight. 2 are self-admitted sex traffickers, and 1 impregnated a prostitute. Now, I don't know much about the people here, except that they're all gay. Like, not gay like annoying, but gay like actually homosexual. So I'm very confused looking into all of this. And I kind of agree with that tinfoil, because like, how could any of these people be relatively actually conservative? When has Alex Jones been wrong about anything other than the DMT dimension aliens? Also, how do you know that he's wrong about the DMT dimension aliens? Sneako is one of them, so not surprised. I don't know anything about Sneako. I had another tweet. It says, Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, Sneako, Tristan Tate, clavicular? Wait, hold on. I remember a few weeks ago, I like made some kind of a joke or some shit, and you guys brought up that name, and I had never heard that name before. I was like, I don't know what a clavicular is. Is that a real person? Is that a new person that's been ushered into the homosexual clan here? Hit the dude with the car. Clavicular is the looks-maxer guy. So you guys keep saying that. And whenever you guys say the looks-maxing guy, I think like the old guy that's been like taking his son's blood to have eternal youth. Like, who's the looks-maxer guy? Sneako is the guy Moist schooled on gun anatomy a while back? No, he hits his face with a hammer to shape it. I mean, everybody else in this little clique is so incredibly fabricated that I guess it makes sense that they would usher in the next member as a guy who literally hits his face with hammers as a way to promote masculinity to men who feel lost. That's kind of gross to me. Okay, they're listening to it in the car. They're really playing it up. I was thinking that this might be safe, but apparently they were listening to Kanye's song in the car as well. If you told me to like name all of the people in this vehicle, I think I could name Fuentes, maybe? Is that Fuentes? No, that one's Fuentes. He's kind of like short and boxy. He's got Minecraft head. I have no idea who that guy is. I would not be able to recognize Sneako. I have no idea who those 2 people are. Where's the one Tate guy that talks about fucking, like, traps? He's not in this picture. I guess he's the one filming. I think he's the only other one I would be able to recognize by their face. They're listening to it and singing it out of tune and being cringe as fuck despite not even being drunk. The video is nuclear cringe. Yeah, this one! He's bald! Baldlets, when will they learn? When will they learn? The song is undeniably catchy. The song is undeniably catchy. And you could listen to it with your homies. That's not a big deal. But, like, making a big show out of it just feels kind of gay. He lost big in that fight, man. What fight? You know, the car is gayer than gay sex in government buildings. Oh, my God. Imagine being bald. The club that they went to apparently issued a statement. Again, I don't know how they convinced the club to play the Kanye song. So maybe that's why people got fired? Vendome has fired 3 people involved in the HH song incident and permanently banned the Tate brothers, Clavicular, Myron Gaines, Sneako, Nick Fuentes, and Justin Waller. Who the fuck is Justin Waller? From their venue after internal review. So Vendome over here says, Vendome has completed its internal review of the unfortunate circumstances and events that occurred in our premises and has taken decisive action. This isolated incident involved 3 people which have been terminated from their employment and are no longer affiliated with Vendome. So 3 people got fired for playing the Kanye song? It's kind of racist. Why would you not let a proud black man's music be played at your club? Vendome has a zero tolerance policy toward anti-Semitism or any other form of discrimination. We have also permanently banned the individuals involved in this incident from the Vendome premises. They are no longer welcome at our establishment under any circumstances. Although Vendome was not aware in advance of the incident, however, it should never have occurred. Vendome has implemented new protocols and safeguards, including strict content controls, enhanced management oversight, and a zero-tolerance enforcement policy to ensure our venue is never used as a platform for discrimination, hate, anti-Semitism, or any other behavior harmful towards our community. We recognize the real harm this incident may have caused to the Jewish community and to Miami Beach as a whole. Vendome remains committed to providing a respectful and inclusive space and environment for all members of our community, and we will continue to act accordingly. I can't believe I am about to defend Robin Hood's gang of homosexuals, but this seems kind of extreme. It seems kind of extreme for playing the Kanye song, especially because, like, he talks about being cucked in the song, man. I don't think this is actually anti-Semitic. Like, it's fucking super edgy to the max, but I don't think Kanye was out here talking about, like, let's actually join hands, Hitler my best friend. You know? I don't know. That seems a little strange to me. That seems a little strange. Sneako finds out from his promoter, how does he have a promoter friend, that he's banned from virtually all hospitality groups. You're banned from virtually every single hospitality group in the US, every restaurant, every venue, nightclub, for your anti-Semitic remarks and absolute racism.
You know you're banned from everything now, right? You smoked yourself. He's been in my vlogs. It's this promoter. This promoter who's been in my vlogs. He's been a friend of mine for a while. We've had back and forth. He's a Zionist.
Oh, I see.
And he just said I'm banned.
Wait, he's a Zionist? just throwing that out there? Okay, all right. But also, this kind of goes back to what I said earlier, where, like, yeah, if you want to listen to the Kanye song with your buddies and fucking just do shit in your car, no big deal, man. That's just you and your buddies. But when you start, like, doing weird shit in a public manner, like, you gotta have a little bit of a, hey, what could the repercussions of this be? That's why I have mods to all of me when I might say something I'll come across a bit weird.
Call him. Let me call him.
Why is there a still picture of him in the car on the phone with another guy? What is happening?
The racist.
Hey, what's up? I'm streaming right now.
I can see that.
You watching?
No, I'm not.
Oh, let's go. So I'm banned from everything?
That's what I hear.
From who? Who said that?
You're banned from virtually. Oh, am I on stream? I don't want my face on stream.
Oh, okay, yeah, just put your voice.
Jesus.
You're virtually banned from every single hospitality group in the United States.
Like what?
Tao Group, Group Hospitality, H-Root Group, virtually every restaurant, every venue, every nightclub. You're pretty much banned for your anti-Semitic remarks and your absolute racism and your hatred towards.
So, as someone who doesn't know anything about Sneako, does he have a history of anti-Semitic remarks, or is this literally just over the song at the nightclub? Yes, he does? Okay. Okay, thank you, chat. Because it's like, if this was just over the song, I would think this is fucking ridiculous. But if he has a track record, maybe. Maybe understandable.
Jews. I thought we were friends.
We are friends. You don't want to be friends anymore?
Oh, I haven't been your friend in over a year, my man. Your anti-Semitism is blatantly disgusting. It's very, very offensive. You know, I've hosted you thousands of times, taken care of you. I've been a true friend, and all I've ever received from you is hatred, racism, and just anti-Semitism.
When have I been racist or hateful towards you?
You always say smirky remarks. It's always been against Jews.
What's?
I feel like if you're gonna throw out like you've always been hateful toward me, you should probably have some examples lined up. Maybe, I don't know. I wish this was longer. I want to hear more. I know you're okay with minors consenting to marriage, but you're an anti-Semite, and that's a big no-no. That is kind of funny when you think about it. If you had people like batting for you saying Cuties was a good movie, but then they drew the line at anti-Semitic remarks. That is kind of funny.
I'm letting y'all know now, I do support ICE. I stand for everything they doing. If it's anybody that's getting caught up in the crossfire, I'm sorry that it had to happen to you, but a democracy worked and people voted for these agents to get these illegal immigrants out the United States of America to make America safe again, make America great again, what other acronym you have for it. And then y'all keep telling these lies. Oh, well, Donald Trump is using ICE as his personal police force to get black and brown people out the United States. So he ain't getting no white folks out the United States. Matter of fact, we'll debunk that right now. Here go a white boy right here. What about White as Snow? Where he from? The UK.
Yeah,
where he got convicted of drug trafficking
boy.
in Arkansas. Sent his ass back to the UK. Here go another white boy right here. Where he from? The United Kingdom. White as Snow. What is he convicted of? Look at all these terrible things he's been convicted of.
Get him
and
out.
Y'all mad
Send
because
him
they
back.
get his ass up out the United States, but y'all keep telling me they only going after brown and black communities. Hold on, I got more. Another dude straight from the UK. He's smiling. He white. They got his ass the fuck up out the United States. Let's move on to the next. Another white boy straight out of Jersey. What he convicted of? Drug trafficking. What they did? Send him back to the UK.
Get back to your fucking
another
island.
White boy straight from the UK. I'm just telling y'all. So why y'all out here talking about they only going after black and brown people? They gonna get you next. Here goes some white folks. I'm showing y'all. Look at what he getting charged with. What they doing? Sending them back to the UK. Hold on, I got more. Another white boy from the UK, where they found him in Brooklyn, convicted of money laundering. What's his name? Jonathan Carson. Shipped his ass back to the UK. Got another white boy straight from France. Look at what he convicted of. Man, they getting them up out of here. Look, we got another one straight out of France. What he convicted of? Identity theft, fraud, and abuse. Shipped his ass back to France. Next. Last but not least, we got a white man straight from Canada. Look at all this disgusting shit he getting charged for. Look
what the fuck is sodomy boy weapon? He's charged for something I've never even heard of. Get him the fuck out. Send him back to the snowland.
This shit, y'all can read. Found his ass in Alabama. What they did, took his punk ass back to Canada. Shout out to Trump and ICE. I stand with ICE because they making America safe again and making America.
True and real. This man said nothing but based facts. He said nothing but based facts, and I found out because I wanted to slur at the British being deported, and Grok assured me that a slur for British people is a piss drinking island monkey. I think crumpet munch is a pretty cool slur for the British as well. That's pretty great. Yeah, this base guy has it correct. Get all those piss drinking island monkey criminals out of America. Don Lemon sees kids fleeing church.
Watch this guy here. Look, he's hugging his kid. And, you know, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. But again, careful. It's very slippery right here. Yeah. It's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what...
It's a good thing that we're making them feel uncomfortable and we're traumatizing their children. Careful here. Don't slip on the ice. It's a little dangerous. You might slip. That's really grotesque. That is really grotesque to say. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Jay Jones, the elected attorney general in Virginia, talking about how if people don't feel repercussions for their stances, they won't change. So people need to be traumatized in order to realize, oh, I was actually wrong about everything. Let's give these psychopaths terrorizing me ultimate power. That will work. Everyone involved in this needs to go to prison. It's fucking disgusting.
Really careful, please. Really slippery. Not kidding. That's what protesting is about. And so...
No, you shouldn't be wanting to traumatize people. That's a little fucking weird. The trauma he wants them to experience will just radicalize them. He doesn't seem to understand that, like, that kind of shit radicalizes people against you. Someone here said, Don Lemon, after learning of a possible DOJ investigation, attempts to spin the story as if he wasn't aware of the anti-ICE extremist group's operational plans to storm the church. He said, I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were chronicling protest. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism. You just did a heckin' murder! Unfortunately for Don, the revisionist version of events doesn't hold up. In the short clip at the right, you can see that Don documented the entire final planning of the operation in the parking lot with the group. He arrived at the parking lot location to meet the group clearly with the purpose of filming the entire operation. He is careful to turn his camera away so as to not disclose critical details that were being discussed right in front of him. Don reveals details of the plan that he already knows, including that white allies are needed. There's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have white allies here. That's true. It's very important that you have white people at these things because they're like the disposable cannon fodder. It's okay if they get shot, you know? They're not really necessary for anything, and white people aren't even people. They're expendable. So they need to be there to actually protect the real people who are protesting. Don admits he knows why white people were wanted for the operation, because he knew exactly what the operation was. He then divulges that he was allowed by the group to document their protest activity for the day, known as Operation Pull-Up. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Don then kisses the leader of the group. Nakima Levi Armstrong thanks her and gleefully sets her up to tease the operation. Bottom line, Don was an activist participant in this operation to storm a church, which disrupted its worship services and traumatized children. He was part of the coordination and knew exactly what the group intended to do and how they would do it. He chose to participate because he was eager to get clicks and views by glorifying the extremist action, before pathetically attempting to spin it all as an act of journalism. And I'm wondering how many people are going to be like, why are you upset at what Don Lemon is doing when obviously the children getting deported are traumatized too? There's a difference between wanting to willfully go in and traumatize children because you want to defend criminals, and a child experiencing trauma because their parent was a terrible person and brought them somewhere that they never should have brought their child, to use their child as a shield in order to keep them somewhere where they don't belong. I feel bad for the children that have to experience this, but they can be deported with their parents and hopefully not held in these deportation centers for a long period of time. I don't like that people are held for an exceedingly long period of time in any of the deportation detention centers. It should be a very fast process.
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protests started in the church, we did an act of journalism. They're getting the operation together. Again, this is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out. Can't tell you what is going to happen, but you're going to watch it live unfold here on the Don Lemon Show. There are for this reason, it may look like MAGA coded, but there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here.
See, that doesn't, like, once again, just being objectively racist, because, like, why would you need specifically white people to go into harass church members? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? What are we talking about, man? Also, yes, I am sick of the lying, especially when you can prove it wrong instantaneously.
So that is what I could say. I turned our camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here. But there we go. Everybody's ready to go. Let's go. Okay. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here. Thank you guys.
Okay.
How are you?
Good.
Good to see you. We're on. We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but thank you. Tell us why you're doing this.
So
this is Nakima Levy Armstrong. She's on the show.
She's got the dead eyes as well. Like, there's just nothing there, man.
Levy Armstrong, civil rights attorney, longtime activist here in the community. And, we protest and do activism in all kinds of ways. This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
Don Lemon, why you lying? Why you lying? So an illegal protest, disbar and report. It's very interesting to hear that she is both an activist and an attorney. Wonder how that works exactly. Another Don Lemon video here says, Don Lemon, after storming a church with a mob of leftist extremists, says that's what protesting is about.
You heard what some of the folks said in there, that this is, they shouldn't be there, and, they shouldn't be uncomfortable, and this is our house and whatever. That's what protesting is about, is to make people uncomfortable. You may not like it, but, if they went into a church, any church.
Going into any kind of, like, citizen area and forcing the average citizen to be terrified and traumatized, that's not normal protest. That's not, oh, I'm kind of annoyed because there's retards on the side of the road with picket signs. Uncomfortable. This is like, we're going to terrorize you until you give us what we want. And if you don't give us what we want, we're going to continuously impede your life. We would normally call that terrorism. And then there's another one here. Don Lemon on church members upset that he stormed their church, calling them entitled white supremacists.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And
what kind of reality does he live in to believe any of that nonsense he's spouting? Like, he has to just be maliciously lying. There's no way that you can actually exist in current year and say those words with any sort of earnesty. Right, like, there's no way you're some kind of useful idiot here, Mr. Don Lemon. Don Lemon practices a form of Christianity called hypocrisy. I just, like, you guys went into their church and said you were glad to traumatize their children. That's what you have to do. And now you're saying if they complain, it's because they're entitled white supremacists? What the fuck are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing here, man?
so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said,
You were the intimidator. You used the intimidation tactics. What?
I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America. And there's a certain degree of entitlement.
I think it would be big news if, like, if Chris Pratt went into a mosque with a group of people and started harassing people. I think most people would focus on the fact that Chris Pratt was there, right? Because he's a big name and he's a guy that people wouldn't expect to just go out terrorizing the average person on a day off, right? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? This is like self-flagellation. Like, of course people are going to focus on you, Don Lemon, because you are a large person who should know better than to do dumb shit like this. You became the face of it because your stupid ass was there. That's probably part of the point, is like him being high profile and going there got a lot more attention on the kind of shit that they were doing at the church. And now they have an opportunity to just smear everyone there for complaining as entitled white supremacists. That's crazy. I can't believe this has to be said, but all people deserve to go to church in peace. Yes, even white people. Imagine having to say even white people. How did we get to a point where people now are saying that statement is racist? Matt Van Swole. I know he's new to how things are, but saying it's okay to be white is considered racist. And then Phil Labonte tweeted out a video of Don Lemon as well. Because I guess Nicki Minaj, our based Nicki, said, Don cock-sucking lemon is disgusting. How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion. Lock him up. And she's fucking based and correct. Don cock-sucking Lemon, get the fuck out of here.
So people have been asking me about responding to Nicki Minaj's unhinged, homophobic tweet about me.
How is it homophobic if she just says what you actually do? It's not offensive if someone says that I'm fucking cocksucking. It's like, yeah, I love cock, bro. I'm a straight woman. Come on. That's not homophobic. I thought you wanted equal rights, brother, man. What are we doing here?
I usually don't respond to this stuff, but let me just say this. Nicki Minaj, stop talking about shit for which you know nothing about. This is out of your depth, by the way, and you are...
Nicki being based was not on your 2026 bingo card. She's been based for a hot fucking minute. But also, like, even without saying, like, I'm a straight woman, you can call me a cocksucker. You can call anyone a cocksucker. You can call a straight man a cocksucker. It doesn't have anything to do with his actual sexuality. It's just a fucking insult. It's like calling a man a bitch. Yeah, he's not a female dog, but he certainly is acting like a bitch, you know? I hate when, like, any insult becomes, oh, you're homophobic. It's like, no, I don't hate you because you're gay. I hate you because you're fucking obnoxious, you little twat. I don't care how many dicks you suck or don't suck. That has nothing to do with the content of your character being made up of shit. Oh my God.
are a homophobic bigot. You don't care about African Americans, and you're not an African American.
Nicki Minaj is one of the only people with a large platform who has talked about the like Christians being martyred in Nigeria, which last I checked, those are Africans. So
from what I know, you are reportedly an undocumented citizen, so you should be deported under Donald Trump's rules. And the other thing is that your family members, you have one family member who is reportedly a sex offender, the other family member, your husband or whatever, a sex offender is your husband. And
I feel like you shouldn't just be wantonly calling people sex offenders if you don't actually know if they are or not, right? Like, even when somebody earlier, like, I was reading a tweet where they said something about Sneako or something, I was like, allegedly, like, I don't know about all that, right? I was like, that seems a little weird. Why would you do that?
one of them is reportedly a pedophile, and you have nerve to talk about me and what you think that I do?
I mean, yeah, because she's not her brother, cousin, husband, whatever the fuck, right? Like, if it was her husband, you might have a bit more of a case, but you don't know who it is, and you don't even know if it's true, so what are you even saying?
You're getting a vigorous spanking because you've been a bad girl.
Like, if she had a family member that was like a brother or a cousin and they had done something wrong, or even if they were a pedophile, what does that have to do with her? What does that have to do with her? Just because someone in her family did something bad doesn't mean she is a bad person. If it was her husband, again, he would have a bit more of a case because, like, that's a person she chose, right? Isn't this slander? I don't fucking know. I have no idea how much, if any, of what he's saying could be true.
Nicki Minaj. Get a life. Stop being a pick-me. You should have put a pick-me doll on that damn tweet instead of...
You said she has a husband. How is she a pick-me if she has a husband? Is it... Gay man tries to use insult by women for women and doesn't even understand how it fucking works. Are you saying, like, pick me a la she wants white people to pick her? Because that's even fucking dumber. Once again, she has stood up for persecution of actual Africans. Like, what are we doing here, Don Lemon? You cocksucking freak?
The Chucky doll, because you are nothing but a pick me. And I choose not to pick you. And so
He is seething. There is no way that you unironically, uncritically say, I choose to not pick you, and try to convince people that you are not just absolutely seething out of your mind about the other person. There's no fucking way. Pick me is envy, a woman that goes against leftism. Yeah, that's why I said it's an insult by women for women, right? Like, nobody normal uses pick me as an insult. And usually when pick me is used, it's just I don't like you because you say things that men like. And that means you don't believe them because no woman would say anything that men actually like, you pick me. It's like, okay, all right, fucking settle down there. Cinderella's evil stepsister. Maybe you too one day could get men to like you if you take the giant amount of sand out of your vagina. Like, I don't know what the issue is here.
should black people and so should gay people. Shouldn't buy your music. Clock that.
Why would you say that? That was so fucking goofy. That's so fucking goofy. You think gay guys were good at being sassy? Clearly not this one. Immensely gay ender. And not even a cool gay ender.